I'm Elisa from Average Advocate, empowering everyday change makers to make a difference, and I wanted to discuss something today with you. I've been noticing a lot how binaries have been harming the way that we make a difference in the world. Now, hear me out, because I know that this is kind of an unpopular opinion. So we have a lot of binaries that I hear all the time, like you're either part of the empire or you're resisting the empire, or you are a capitalist or you are anti-capitalism, racist or white supremacist, or Christian nationalists or condemning Christian nationalists. And the list kind of just keeps going on and on and on. We know of these exploitative systems that are there and exacting, and they're unjust, and we are aware of that. But the way we respond to it is kind of a duh and duh. And there can be something helpful about this, because this kind of helps us with our choice making when we come to, decision making, when we're like, should I buy from this or should I buy from this? So that can be helpful, but otherwise it's mostly not a helpful thing. And let me tell you why. The hard truth is that these binaries aren't actually real. We are all part of the systems in a way. We are all somewhat complicit because we were mostly born into and entangled in these systems our whole lives. So if you're thinking like it is either this or this, it's not a true statement. So we're trying to figure out, how do you navigate it when we want to do this, but really it isn't that. So the problem is that this moral imperative of, well, we must be this, we must be completely anti whatever, or we must be not part of the empire, or we must condemn it, and we feel this constant urge to condemn, it's actually burning advocates out. It burns change makers out. You can't maintain that level of resistance at all time and stay in the game. For example, I'm going to just give you a practical example. I have some books and they are on Amazon. Is Amazon an exploitative system? You could easily argue that it is. Do I want them there? Not really, but do I have the time and energy and ability to take them off at this point of time? No, I don't. I don't really have the time to do that. It's not the best use of my time and energy. Would I like to someday? Yes. Will I move in that direction? Yes, I will move in that direction. But at the same time, we have to realize that you can't do everything. And everybody knows this. I mean, I've talked to so many people who are like, oh my gosh, I have a Tesla, but Elon Musk owns Tesla and Teslas, and he's a capitalist, and he's bad, and I understand that perspective as well. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you want to go into financial ruin. That's not going to help the advocacy world if you go into financial ruin to be able to make a stand and take a stand against something. The other thing is not only does it burn advocates out because it puts this hustle thing in, because they have to figure out everything and they have to make a statement piece about everything and they have to sign all the petitions and do all the things. But the other problem with it is that that it prevents people from coming alongside of us. A lot of times when we do the binary, the us, you are this or you are that, one of the things that really makes difficult for us is that we end up kind of condemning everybody else who is not part of the game. We're not willing to walk with them as they change and grow. Now, we need to remember this, or I need to remember this too. That's a collective we, is that we have all been given grace to grow. We have all been given the chance to develop our thinking about things and our understanding and awareness of things. And if we were not given that grace, we are not able to grow. We need to have room for that. And if people are putting us in binaries, it automatically pushes us away, because, I used to speak a lot at anti-trafficking events, and a lot of times I would say stuff like, porn is, exploitative and it's terrible. And I mean, I still believe this, but at the same time, what was happening is the way that I was wording it and the way I was creating it, I was creating a binary which was pushing people away who were struggling with porn because they felt shame and sadness, or they felt righteous in their struggle with pornography, or they might not call it their struggle with pornography. They might just think it was fine. But the point is that I could see how that was connected to exploitation, but I was closing off walls for people by the way that I was connecting with them and talking about it. In fact, I might even be doing that now. But the thing is that my goal because it isn't to try to create a high moral barrier that none of us can achieve. My goal is to talk about the fact that we are on this spectrum. So when we're thinking about resistance or resistance to empire, which is a term that people use a lot to talk about anything that is big and large and exploitative, whether, like I've already said, capitalism, colonialism, anything, anything that is big and large and controls people. And in that, we're all connected to these systems. And the thing is that if we're thinking of it as a spectrum rather than a binary, then we're able to move slowly out of it, and we're able to walk with people and give them the room to move slowly out of it. So my point is, it's just to give us a different perspective, a different way of thinking of it, so we're not harming ourselves, we're not burning each other out by creating a stance that none of us can obtain, but instead I'm encouraging you to continue resisting injustice, however you do it, whether you're an organizer or a boycotter, whether you're just doing it through building simple community or creating alternatives to other things or supporting small things. Keep going, keep resisting, keep moving away from complicity with these huge, large systems that harm people. But don't let that moral superiority get in and drag you and others down around you, because it shames us as much as it shames the people that we talk to. And our goal is to be advocates that use wisdom, that guide people and carry people alongside with us, because we don't want to make the problem worse. And I fear that by using binaries, a lot of times we do make things worse. However, we have the ability to change that. We are able to build hopeful movements by encouraging advocates to remember that seeking justice is not a binary, but it grows on a spectrum. So just remember that and keep that in mind. I'm curious how you do that. Always put in the comments. I love hearing how you do that in your own life. All right, that's it.